Alright, welcome everybody. We're back live. This is Zenith Online Racing. This is Tier 1. It's round 15, the Canadian Grand Prix. We're here in Montreal, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I am Arbega, and I'm glad to have you back. Last week we had to postpone the race. We just didn't have really enough numbers. Everybody was on vacation, and tough to get things rolling for you guys. So the Great Britain Grand Prix will be done at the end of the season. So you can catch that in a few weeks' time. I think there's only about 4 races left now. So Packer out front again, making his way down the back straight. And he'll be getting the first hot lap of the session going. Whoa, and he's crashed. I don't know how he did not lose a tire there. He's a very lucky man. I looked at the phone for a second just to check on Scav, and he was having an issue in the lobby there. So I don't know if he's... Maybe he's okay. He's on an outlap, so I guess we're going to keep rolling with things for now. But yeah, Packer, bit of an error there, and nearly loses his tire. Looks like Alt Maverick is on a flyer, perhaps. So let's see if we can check in with him. Home race for a lot of guys here in the North American tier. Home race for myself. Been to this track a few times. Many times for concerts, festivals. And for Formula 1 racing, of course. Now, it's a beautiful little park. Right on the St. Lawrence River. In what's probably one of the greatest cities in this country. Montreal. A beautiful place. Montreal, as the locals would say. Well, and Maverick, he is invalidated, no surprise. It looked like he had gone completely off the track in the chicane there. Beck coming through the final corner, invalidated as well. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that tonight. Fuzz, this lap, well, he's started the lap okay, so he's just starting a flyer. Cobalt. Is he going to get a time lap? He does. Cobalt with the first lap on mediums, 109.1. Jinnit with a 108.7. Jinnit very good at this circuit, I remember as well. And according to the chat, the weather is dry. I was trying to will some rain into the air for the race here tonight, but the F1 gods have favored the side of the drivers tonight. Hard enough to keep it on the track here as it is, so not such a bad thing that it's a dry race tonight. Let's see if we can find someone else on a flyer. T-Money is on a flyer. He, I think he got disqualified last season for corner cutting, as I reminded everybody in the chat today. So, let's see if T-Money gets his first lap valid on the board here. Bit of a wobble there through the S-bend, and a lot of tricky chicanes on this track. Really no room for error. It's about the only place you can get away with a mistake. All that runoff down there, but the walls come at you fast here when you do run off the track, so very important to keep it steady. But yeah, T-Money looking good to get a nice banker in here, and then he's going to be able to build on that. Yeah, nicely done. Gets through that chicane clean, and looks like it should be a pretty good time. 109.6, so that'll put him inside the top 10 currently. Probably going to slide out of there, but pretty close to Dernia, so you'll be happy with that. We got some guys on mediums, though, well up the field here. Doth and Cobalt, 700ths between them. Then we got 200ths between Jinnit and Sharpshooter. So, yeah, pretty tight already here. Gotta get in that YouTube chat. My apologies, I have not seen any of the comments yet. Where are we here? There we are. Alright, Cobalt fans, bag of bones. Packer, let's ignore what I just did. It's on the air though, my friend. That's the only unfortunate thing about... I'm sitting here watching people in the pits, so apologies. Just checking the chat comments. Scavney on an out lap. Joshua on a flyer. His is invalidated, though. Fusion's on an out lap. Do we have anybody on a flyer? Packer. Packer is going for it. So let's ride with Packer this time, see if he can keep it clean. And, yeah, pretty bumping in the chat here tonight so far. Everybody popping in for the Canadian Grand Prix. Should be a good one regardless. It's definitely one of the better races. Field stays pretty tight. It's really tough to make an overtake here. You really only have that one straight to get it done. I guess the front straight's not bad for overtaking, but it's a little easier through here. The problem is you need to be pretty much well ahead to try and go side by side. If the driver with the racing line is always going to get the advantage through this final chicane here, so can be a very tricky place to get an overtake done unless you're absolutely sailing by them. So Packer's invalidated. Looked a lot more tidy going through the chicane there, but the lap already does not count. What's he got here so far? 109.3, so even that's a little off the pace at the moment. Sam just about to finish a lap here. Let's see what he can do. Trying to shorten the track a bit, 110 flat, so not sure if he improved or not, but does not gain any places. Puff Digital, hometown driver, going right past the Puff Digital grandstand. They all got free hats today. They didn't get any umbrellas for their tiers, though. And Puff's lap is invalid. So he's heading in the pits there. He's going to go for another run. If we can't find somebody out there. Doth going for a soft lap. Let's ride with Doth. It's a man I met in this very city, Montreal. Doth Thou Hoist. One of the few people in the league that I've actually met in person. A fine gentleman, fine racer. He's actually been on a really, really good streak lately, scoring a lot of points for the Renault team and a couple podiums as well. He's just, he's had some really, I think last race was a bit of a lot of misfortune last race out, but up till then he's been having a really good stretch, and this is one of his favorite circuits, so I imagine Doth on for a good result tonight. See what he can do here. Nicely done. Just had to hesitate on the exit, though. Almost got into the wall of champions there. So that's going to cost him a little bit of time, but the way he absolutely chucked it into the corner was just perfect. The car just did not bite on the second part of that chicane, so Doth definitely has a little more time in that. I feel like he could probably be looking at a top 3, possibly qualifying if he can string it all together. See what he can do. Let's get to Fuzz, who's out on mediums on a flying lap right now. Yeah, Jennett's pretty good at Canada, so watch out for him tonight. And he's been better at keeping himself off the penalty sheet, too, so see if he can keep that going for tonight. It's going to be really tough for everybody here with penalties, but we're going to have a lot of math to do at the end, which is not my forte. Well, I'm glad the game will keep track of them for us. And Fuzz invalidates, so that medium run, no good for him. Sharpshooter invalidates as well. Packer, he looks like he's heading into the pits. Yeah, he's almost out of fuel here, so Packer with a 107.9 up on the boards. Did he not invalidate that run? When did he set that time? What happened there? Anyways, Packer at the top. That's unsurprising. Apparently a pretty good driver. We got Nathan has not shown up for the race, actually, I've just noticed. The championship leader has not made it. I believe he got the invites but didn't show up. Something that's happened a few times in the past with that time change in the UK there. He's fallen asleep at the wheel and didn't make it into the race, so perhaps Nathan missing this Grand Prix once again. That's going to favor Packer big time, points-wise. It's going to give Packer a chance to claw a huge chunk back, but Nathan himself would concede that Packer was capable of beating him here anyways. It's apparently one of Packer's best tracks, so see how that pans out. Puff on another flyer. Let's ride with Puff. Oh, big wobble there. Gotten a lot of curb. Bottomed out that car. Adri's on some kind of tear tonight. Just blasting everyone in the chat. Nobody's safe. Puff has invalidated this run again. So Puff needs to get out there again for another try. He's got 7 minutes left. He's got plenty of time. Needs to get a lap on the board, though. Beck, Scabney, Fusions in the same boat have not set a valid lap time yet. Most of the field has, though, so... Guys in the pits right now, out laps. Anybody on a flyer? Sam is on a flyer. He's down, or up. Actually, he's invalidated as well, so no good for Sam. Beck on a run here. Where is he on track? Scabney a little further up the road. Scabney needs to get a lap time on the board, so let's ride with Scabney and see what he can do here. He's making his way through the hairpin now. Time to get digital. Got to do something. Nicely done from Scabney there. Right on that limit, right as in the first part of that corner, and a 109.1 for Scabney. So gets himself right in the mix there, hanging around that top 10. So what was that? There's two cars coming really close together there. Puff on his next out lap, so he'll be going for another flyer soon. We got Beck on a run here. He needs to keep this one clean. Does keep it clean, so this one's going to count. A little hesitation there in the chicane just to make sure this one got on the board, and there he goes, P10. So everybody on the lap time except for Puff. Puff needs to get one on the board there and see where it is compared to his rivals. Let's see if we can find someone else on a run. Looks like Dernia's just started a lap. Doth on a lap. Fuzz on a lap. Let's check in with Doth. He's just about finished this one. He's got a 10th there. Let's see if he can improve on that. 5 tenths up, and that puts Doth into P2. That's a really nice time from Doth. Been on some really strong form lately and looking to continue that tonight here. Really good quality lap so far, and he's got plenty of time to get another one in and see how he does in the race here as well. He's been really solid in the races lately too, so... see what he can do. Who else was on a flyer there? We had somebody else. Fuzz? Yeah, Fuzz up into P7 with a 108.9. Pretty much a 109 there. Just 2 thousandths shy of 109 flat. Who is next? Ryan. Puff on a flyer. Let's ride with Puff. He's got to keep this one clean, and he's the only guy that doesn't have a lap time yet. Really important that he gets a time on the board here. If he sets this lap, I guess he'll have time to get back around and get out again. Yeah, probably just enough time for another one. So, the thing is, you can invalidate your lap after you miss the pit exit, or pit entry, so... he has to go for it here, though, and I think he'll have time to get back around and get out again. Maybe? And he invalidates it. So, no good for Puff, and now he has to go all the way back around. 109 flat he had, so that would have put him around P8 if he got it over the chicane without cutting. Sharpshooter on a run. Anybody else near the end of the lap? You got Ace Cobalt about to set a lap time here. Aha, rain coming in a few minutes, says Scabney. I told you guys it was going to rain. There's always weather in the air in Montreal. It's never a guarantee that it ain't going to rain. So Cobalt and Sharpshooter both go ahead of Doth by just a very slim margin. So Doth is right there in that top 4. Very competitive lap time. He's quite close to those guys. Jinnit kind of lingering around as well. P5, he's got some more time in that lap, surely, and see if he can mix himself in there. Everybody else is kind of just waiting now to get that final run in. Dernia has to get back around and get back out. Puff has invalidated this lap as well, unsurprisingly. I think he's got time to get back out, though. Probably leave the pits around 1:30 at this rate, and that should be plenty of time to get a lap in. So, hopefully him and Doth aren't tripping over each other in that pit box. Ace Cobalt out on track. He's coming in, though. Who do we have on an outlap? Packer on an outlap. Doth on an outlap. Scabney on an outlap. Who is where? So Scabney's just started his run. Packer's still on the outlap, and so is Doth. So let's stay with Scabney for now, then we'll check in with Doth and Packer behind him. That's a good one, Bones. Puff Analog, in case anyone's watching, you can't see the chat. That's Bones' new nickname for Puff. Puff Analog. Oh man, that's harsh. Alright, Scabney hasn't validated, so he's going to have to turn things down and build up some battery for another run. Let's check in with Doth here. Oh, touches the wall a little bit there, but he is up 5/10, so he's actually only up 7/1000th right now. T-Money has crashed, or retired in the pits, I guess. Yeah, it looks like he's in the pits. Yeah, I think Doth may have lost a bit of wing there. He's really pushing it. If he can just get that wall of champions perfect, he'll be set. Be able to improve about a 10th or so, I figure. He's down, actually, through Sector 2 now, so needs to find a bit more time here. And we'll check in with Packer behind, who is looking to improve on his provisional pole lap. Oh, turned in early there, but he gets away with it. So he's on the power nice and early here. Doth, can he improve? No, he cannot. No improvement for Doth. Here comes Packer. Can he improve? He does by a 10.5. So 107.9 he's got, but that's invalidated. So he actually does not improve on his original time there. What else do we have on a run? Puff never left the garage. He's out of tires, perhaps? Got Ryan on a flyer here. Let's check in with Ryan and see what he's up to. Both Red Bulls outside the top 10 right now. One of these guys needs to improve to get them in the top. Zmogo's into the pit, so Ryan, the only hope here. And Scabney's crashed out. Ryan with a 109.4, so does not improve his time. Anybody else on a flyer? We got Fuzz improving by 2/10. He's into P6. Nice lap there from Fuzz. Here comes Doth. Does this lap count for Doth? He does, but I do not think he's going to put it in. He absolutely just chucked it in there. Figured why not. Does not improve. Oh, he improves by 1,000th, so now he has to start on that set. Oh, jeez. That was not a good decision. That was not a good decision. Yeah, I wouldn't have done that personally. I think that's it for quali. It looks like everybody is done. So Packer takes pole position. Jinnit will take P2. Sharpshooter, the Mercedes teammate, into P3. Ace Cobalt P4. Doth P5. Fuzz P6. Joshua goes P7. Maverick goes P8. That's a nice qualifying for Maverick, actually. P8, starting in the points already. Does look a little rainy, doesn't it? I told you, that weather. So T-Money P9, Scabney P10, all those guys starting on that set. Everybody else gets tire choice. Fusions 11, Beck 12, Ryan 13, Dernia's 14, Zmogo's 15, Sam is 16th, and Puff Digital will start last. No valid time. So the hometown hero with a lot of work to do. Ryan, bit of a hometown hero as well. I believe he's from the Ottawa region, which is about an hour and a half away from Montreal. So kind of a home race for Ryan as well. And yeah, that's as far as I can tell, that's all the Canadians in the field today. A lot of Americans here. And a few other nationalities as well. In the rain. Yeah, I wish. They said full dry. I mean, if it happens to be raining, I'm going to be shocked. But the thing is, like, this track is one of the only tracks I've seen in the game where it literally will look like blue sky and clear, and like 10 minutes in it'll get cloudy and all of a sudden it'll rain. Like, even if it doesn't even forecasted. Like, I've seen even in real life, I've been here and I've seen like just storm clouds develop out of nowhere, and suddenly it's miserable weather, and it was supposed to be nice all day. Um, so it seems like the game has that feature built in pretty nicely for this circuit. See that new paddock there? They built that a few years ago. It's a really nice looking thing there. Fusions has readied early, so I believe that's a 10-second penalty for Fusions. I'm pretty sure he's not the race director. So Fusions will be carrying 10 seconds right off the hop there. Something we like to do during the intermission is just give everybody a couple minutes to have a comfort break and get themselves situated for a 45-minute race. So Fusion's a little trigger happy there and has incurred a penalty for getting things rolling a little early. The other problem with that is that some of these guys walk away and they don't get off the line for the formation lap, and they end up having to start on cold tires. So that 10-second penalty is applied to the guy who does initiate that as sort of a punishment for possibly hampering anybody who doesn't realize that the session's starting and misses the formation lap. Luckily, it looks like everybody got away here, so Packer out in front carrying the field. Let's check in the tire situation. So Beck gone on the hards in P11. That's a bold strategy. Puff Digital, hards, and dead last, which makes sense. He's going to run a really long race. Doesn't have to rush. Doesn't have to do anything desperate or push up the field. Can just get himself started and take his time sort of moving through the field there. And the softs probably aren't going to last very long here. It was Fusions. Fusions hit readied up too early here, so Fusions going to get nabbed for that one. But yeah, mediums for most guys outside the top 10. We got Ryan, Zem, Sam, and Fusions on the mediums. Matthew Durnia opting for the softs. I've questioned him doing that in the past, and he's actually made it work pretty nicely for him. He is really good at race starts and making up places, so he could end up inside that top 10 before the end of lap 1. Keep an eye on his name. And everybody else on the soft tires will probably be pitting quite early. It's looking like a possible 2-stop race. Guys on the hards will be able to 1-stop for sure. Medium guys might be able to go to hards and get to the end. It's really tough to say here. It's a relatively short pit lane, I guess, compared to most races, so I think that could benefit some people, but there it is, the famous Wall of Champions. We'll see if it claims any victims tonight. Many champions have crashed out there. That's where it gets its famous name from, so we'll see if any of our former champions crash on that wall here tonight. Yeah, we'll see if maybe some team orders in there, but the grid is reformed. Stayed very packed at the end there, and we're ready to go racing here for round 15 of Tier 1. This is Zenith Online Racing. I am Arbiga. We are in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. We got Packer on pole, Jinnit in second, and Sharpshooter P3. We have 3, 4, 5 lights on, and they're off. We are racing in Canada. Packer off to a very good start there, and it looks like Sharpshooter also got a very good start. I think he jumped his teammate there, if I'm not mistaken. Any action back here? It looks like everybody getting through pretty clean. We got a little bit of ghosting going on. Nicely done for everybody here. It looks like we got a clean first lap so far. And yeah, everybody falling into line nicely here. No bumping and grinding from what I can see. Let's get back to the front of the field here, though. Packer off to a really nice lead. Already you can see Sharpshooter did get the jump on Jinnit there. He is behind, and he's got a nice cushion between him and Jinnit already. And he's going to be able to go hang with Packer at the front. Jinnit under pressure from Ace Cobalt behind, and you see Ace Cobalt under pressure already from Fuzz and Joshua, very close to them as well. So we'll stay on board here with Ace Cobalt. Keep an eye on the guys behind. There's some action going on in the field there. Scabney very close, side by side there with T-Money. And now Durnia right alongside Scabney. So these two side by side as they head down the back street towards the chicane. Who's going to yield here? Someone has to lift. No, they go wheel to wheel, and there they go, both. Big lockup for Scabney. Durnia cuts the corner. He's going to get dinged for that quite quickly. So now they are side by side once again. Scabney does go back in front, does keep that place. Joshua heading down the inside on Doth here. And who's going to get that place? Doth just sort of pushed off the road there a little bit, sort of similar to the Seb and Hamilton incident years ago. And Doth had to cut that corner by really no choice. He just had to. There was no track left for him. So, obviously, I mean, he could have always lifted and backed out of that, but I don't think any racing driver's lifting in a corner. They're alongside somebody. It just goes against all your instincts. Ryan putting some pressure on Dernia here. So Dernia into the top 10 at halfway through lap 2 here. We got a yellow flag. Someone is out. Is it Zamoglis has crashed? Zamoglis has had an incident. He is not out, though. He is still in the race. But he has had a major incident there, and he's getting himself turned around as we speak. Puff Digital climbing all over the back of Beck and Sam here, having a nice little scrap. We've lost our interval timing, so I do not know who is where the battles are. Just going to move through the field slowly and keep an eye on everybody. Doth and T-Money putting some pressure on Joshua, who's sort of been he's sort of a cork in the bottle right now for the rest of the field. He's holding these guys up, and it's allowing Fuzz to get away, who is losing touch with Cobalt, Jinnit, and Sharpshooter. Those guys pulling away from the rest of the midfield while Packers extends his lead at the front. So, yeah, like you said there in the chat, we should see Sharpshooter and Jinnit having a nice little scrap here tonight. Ace Cobalt hanging on to them nicely, and Fuzz just sort of floating around in the background there. See if he can close that gap up at all. And we got Doth and T-Money, Scavney, Dernia, Ryan, all very close to the back of Joshua here. Comes Ryan down the inside of the hairpin, huge lockup, sort of barges his way through there. There was a lockup from the Ferrari driver, Dernia, as well. A little bit of a dive bomb there, but plenty of room in that corner to send it down the inside. And see if Dernia fights this back. Doth does stay in front of Joshua there. Dernia taking a look, but does not send it on Ryan. Beck, Puff, and Maverick putting some pressure on Sam there. Comes Scavney around the outside on T-Money. Did T-Money make a mistake there? Or? He was ahead of Scavney, wasn't he? Well, Scavney was the cork in the bottle, was he not? So, I guess T-Money may be making a move. We'll see. I mean, Jinnit, yeah, he does have a penalty already. See how he can do from here. Looks like he's going for it, though. Jinnit down the inside with that DRS. And he gets that place, gets the move done. Checking behind. Do we have any other drivers close to an overtake here? Sharpshooter, he heads into the pits as well. So Jinnit and Sharpshooter both pit. So he double stacked there, and that's going to cost Sharpshooter an immense amount of time. He's going to lose a fortune there. The timing is all messed up. Puff Digital being held up by Beck here. He needs to get by. Sam sort of holding these guys up from extending and getting further up the field on those harder tire compounds, looking to go further into the race. Scavney putting some pressure on Joshua here. Yeah, Jin got 5 seconds for speeding there, I believe. But I mean, that's the problem if you don't communicate with your teammate, you know, things like that happen. Let's see if Scavney, I mean, these softs probably aren't going to last much longer anyway, but sucks that they both pit at the same time for Sharpshooter. He's well behind now. Big lock up there. So it looks like Ryan put some pressure on Dernia again. Dernia did get back in front there. Does have a penalty already, though. See Dernia just getting a little wide there. T-Money under pressure here from Dernia. Dernia going to the outside line here. They both lock up, but Dernia with that inside now. Nicely done by both drivers, leaving just enough space. And, oh, Dernia with a huge wobble there. That's going to give T-Money the place back. He nearly had that position, but just under the power, had a big snap and had to lift, and T-Money does hold the place for now. But here comes Dernier again down the inside. T-Money turns in on him. Dernier does get the place, though, I believe. He's got that done. That DRS now. And here comes Ryan behind as well. Nice little scrap we've got going on for P7 here. Looks like Maverick's had some kind of issue. He is down behind Puff now on those soft tires. Carrying a penalty already as well. See if T-Money can fight this back now. Gonna get that DRS. Ryan will get that nice double slipstream. All these guys stay out. Maybe someone considering an undercut here. Big lock up there from T-Money. Looks like Jinnit getting by Sam, who's gone into the pits, so easy place there. T-Money right on the tail of Dernier, though. Three-second penalty. I mean, there's no point in me even watching the penalties at the bottom. They're just going to keep piling up. It's a waste of my breath. T-Money still stuck behind Dernier here. They've been scrapping for quite a few laps here, and Ryan sort of stuck waiting on those mediums, wants to get through. Is T-Money a little closer this time? Though it didn't seem like he had a very good exit out of the hairpin there, so looks like Dernier is harvesting down the straight here. So he's running out of juice here, and T-Money will be able to see that from behind. Nobody pits yet, so I was thinking maybe an undercut could be on here. Packer is pit early for the mediums. Packer going to come out in some nice clear air, I think. Yeah, I should get out in front of these guys. Actually, no, he's going to be right stuck behind Ryan and T-Money here, isn't he? So Packer's going to have some work to do, and he's stuck behind a bit of a three-car train here. So maybe if you're at the front, you consider extending now if you're Doth or Scavney. Well, Packer, I think, had a pretty sizable margin here. Beck still holding up Puff here. Puff really needs to find a way through. And they're going to be holding up Cobalt and Jinnit now, too. They're going long, though, so these guys have to find a way through. They're not going to get a freebie. We got Packer all over Ryan, who is pressuring T-Money here. T-Money under serious threat from Ryan. Does have DRS to help defend, though. T-Money dives in the pits. Good call. Ryan misses the corner completely. Surprised he didn't get a straight penalty for that one. Packer going to go right through. So the two-stop strategy window open, according to the AWS graphic there. Interesting to see these guys on the mediums. They started on them. How long are they going to be able to go, and what kind of pace are they going to have? That'll kind of give us a sign of if this is actually a one-stop or two-stop race. Packer right on the tail of Dernier here. Yeah, that's true. There could be a safety car for sure tonight. Packer sends it into the hairpin. He's got it done. Big lockup, but got some fresh rubber, so willing to sacrifice a little bit of that to save some time in the clear air. He's only got Joshua in front of him now before he retakes the lead. Puff Digital still stuck behind Beck, so Puff really needs to get on the gas here. Open that DRS up, see if he can find a way through. Beck does not have that DRS. You can see him harvesting, so Puff is knowing he's in trouble. Puff does not go for it. He tucks back in. Just maybe biding his time for the main straight here. Not a bad option. Well, it looks like Beck's got a good enough exit to cover him off. Yeah, Beck just moves in front there and does cover that. So now Fuzz on the tail of Puff as well, putting some pressure on. Packer looks like he's going to get by Mr. Joshua here. He's sending it in a bizarre place there. Packer already with penalties as well. Maverick with the fastest lap currently. Nice job. Packer's still not through, so surely we'll go for it into the hairpin here. Or, yeah. To be expected. Yeah, there goes Packer. So Packer back out in the front. So let's get back to the other battles in the field. Buzz has made it by Puff. He's going to go put some pressure on Beck now. And Doth here is going to be, I'm sure, ushered through by Puff any moment. Surely Puff will just leave the battery off for this straight. Let Doth get through there. Running a completely different race. Doesn't want to cost Doth any time. They do still both need to find a way past Beck now, though. Doth should have an easier time of it, though, with the fresh mediums on, so maybe Puff can kind of sneak through while Doth is disrupting Beck. He's doing well battery-wise, you can see on the steering wheel, so should be able to make something of it. Doth really putting some pressure on Beck here, so Doth thought about it, but not a great place for overtaking. May have a better shot into the hairpin, or at least on the exit of the hairpin. Puff is now under threat from Scavney on those fresh mediums too. Puff going to want to do everything he can to fight Scavney, hold him up a little bit, not let him put some pressure on Doth. Puff doing a nice job on the exit there. They're wheel to wheel here. I think Puff gets the DRS. Oh, they both get DRS, so that's going to be interesting. Who's the better race trim here? Doth does go through. Puff does tuck back in behind Scavney, so we're going to have to both put some pressure on Beck now. See if they can get through. We got Cobalt, Ryan, and Durnia very close to the back of Joshua, too. Scavney trying to get through here. There goes Scavney around the outside, just slices across and takes that place. Nicely done from Scavney. Ace Cobalt putting some pressure on Ryan here. He wants to get through. He's right on the tail of Ryan. He might even get Durnia here too. This is going to be pretty crazy. Durnia with the DRS to defend as well. Ryan gets the place. Durnia dives into the pit, so that's helped big time for Cobalt. You see that exit he got out of the wall. Champion's brilliant. He's going to have a run on Ryan here, going to the outside line. Oh, Ryan trying to defend that, goes super deep, locks up, and Cobalt slices around and gets by. So nice job from Cobalt getting through there. He's got to get by Joshua now, who's on a very old set of softs. Still out in the front here on that original set of softs. Ryan on his OG mediums, and then Beck and Puff on the hards, 12 laps. Everybody else has pit. Cobalt around Joshua here and gets that done. Now this is where it gets interesting because Joshua and Ryan kind of on similar strategies but opposite tires, so they're going to have an interesting scrap here. Jinnit sends it down the inside, gets on the brakes late, and has the grip to get it done. See him putting that pressure on Joshua now. He's going to try and make that move stick into the wall of champions. Needs to get on with it and get away from these guys. Start chasing down Cobalt. There goes Jinnit. Taking a peek down the inside, but doesn't have a line there. Trying again. He's going to get a better exit down the main straight here. Does Jinnit get it done? He sends it down the inside, late on the brakes, and just has the traction to get it rotated. Nice job from Jinnit there to get through. Nice little overtake. Now Joshua really under threat from Ryan here. See him right on the tail. Puff's still putting some pressure on Beck there now that they're away from all the other traffic. Oh, big moment for Joshua. That's going to cost him the place. His softs are really falling off here. He's really desperate to try and extend and get to a nice one-stop medium stint, but I'm not sure how much longer he can go on those tires. He's going to have to go 21 laps on the mediums at this stage, which I think probably is doable with 13-lap-old softs. See what Fuzz can do here. Fuzz surely will pick off Joshua on this straight. He's got Doth chasing him down, so he needs to get by as quickly as possible. There goes Fuzz through. Joshua heads into the pits. Smart move, I think. He's running out of life there. So Joshua pits. Doth is released. He's going to be able to go chase down Fuzz. Fuzz going forward on Ryan now as well. Down the inside. Fuzz still wheel to wheel with Ryan. Ryan's fighting tooth and nail here. It's just costing himself time. He's on a completely different strategy than these guys. Fuzz does eventually get through, though. So Joshua comes out behind Maverick, it looks like. Got a lot of work to do. Stayed out very long on those softs, and he's put him down in P15, which I don't think is really going to work out for him too well. Unless there's a safety car and everybody pits ahead. Which may be what he's thinking. So Doth gets by Ryan as well, so Ryan's tires are really falling off the cliff here. Nice, getting picked off quite quickly. Puff has made it by Beck. Somewhere along the last lap or two he's gotten by. And he's had a bit of a lockup there and has allowed Beck back into his DRS, but Beck seems to be struggling with grip. He's really slow out of the hairpin there, loses time. So Beck started to lose touch with Puff now. Puff definitely was being held up a little bit by Beck, but did not have that outright pace to just blow by, so got stuck there for quite some time. Here comes Doth putting the pressure on Fuzz now. He's got Ryan kind of hanging on in the background, but Ryan shouldn't be too much of a threat with those old mediums on. Maverick down in P14 currently. Got Fusions ahead of him. And then Joshua, who's just pit to fresh mediums, is bringing up the rear there as well. So, pretty quiet night for Packer so far. He's got an 8.8 second lead out in front. He's doing quite nice. He's just slowly building that up. And we have a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think that is Sam. It is Sam. He has gone off. He's having a really rough night here. Sam has been outstanding here in Tier 1 since moving up mid-season. Tonight, probably his worst race so far in Tier 1 since moving up. Definitely seems to be struggling tonight. But overall, he's had a brilliant season since he moved up. Doth sort of left nowhere to go there and has to run wide and cut that corner. So Fuzz, obviously, like I said, whoever has the racing line through that corner when you're trying to make an overtake generally is going to get through clean. One person's always going to have to take evasive action. Like, you go side by side through there, it's going to end badly. Yeah, another yellow flag in Sector 3. Who is that? I think it's cleared now. Maybe Sharpshooter. Sharpshooter on the old mediums. He's way down in 15th, so nowhere near his teammate Jinnit anymore. So obviously Sharpshooter's had some kind of issue and struggling now. Well, we know he had that big problem with the delay in the pits. He got stuck behind his teammate double stacked, so that hurt him pretty badly, but maybe just trying to hang on to that. And Sam's just called it a night. He's had enough. So Sam's packed it in. He's parked it in the garage for the evening, and that'll be it for Sam here in Canada. First retirement of the night. Doth getting by Fuzz here pretty clean, and Fuzz has nothing there to defend that anymore, so he's just going to do everything he can to harvest and try and close back in on Doth. Puff sort of in clear air now on those hards. He's definitely going to be able to get them to a soft stint window. The longer he runs, too, the more likely there is a safety car at some point. He can just pit on to whatever tires he needs at that stage. So I think he's in the clear now. If it was a safety car were to come out, Puff, Sharpshooter's out. He's retired in the pits as well. But Puff, if there were to be a safety car, and Puff could pit to the mediums and get to the end of the race, I think, at this stage. As you can see, Ryan's gotten the medium 17 laps so far, so it's definitely doable. Scabney gets by Ryan. Didn't even see that one coming. Comes T-Money trying to get by Puff here. So yeah, Doth by Fuzz, and he's starting to build that gap. So let's stay with T-Money here. Durnia and Beck. Durnia blows by. Get back to T-Money. T-Money with a big walk up there is not going to help his case. He's lost a couple tenths just in that hairpin braking zone there. Ryan actually is closed on Scabney down the straight, but obviously he's not going to get by again. T-Money closing here, but he's not going to be able to get it done this lap, so he's probably going to have to tuck in and wait another till another straight comes up. Ryan is hanging on nicely, though. So is Fuzz. Maverick putting some pressure on Fusions. Doth is doing great. Saying, yeah, he's net P2, no penalties. I told you, Doth is great at this track. It's one of his favorites for sure, so. I think he's been to the Grand Prix more times than I have, and I live in Canada, so. Should tell you something. I think he really enjoys this one. Maverick putting some pressure on Fusions, looking to get by here. We got Puff under pressure from T-Money and Durnia now. Maverick just not able to find that juice he needs to get by Fusions, who probably is getting a little help with the DRS ahead. Taking a look, but just, yeah, not close enough. See if he can get it done here. Now, Fusion's not going to have DRS anymore. The car in front has pit, so here comes Maverick, looking to make the move, and he gets it done. Nice job from Maverick there. Let's go check in on this battle with Puff, T-Money, and Durnia. He's under pressure. I'm going to refill my grape juice. Hope I don't miss anything. Grape juice. Delicious. All right, Puff's still in front. Oops, I've gone up the road to Ryan. My apologies. Meant to be watching this battle. Clumsy hands. Banging buttons and shit. T-Money is close. See if he thinks about it into the chicane. He is thinking about it. T-Money's going for it, and he sends it, gets it done. Nice move from T-Money there. Puff with a beautiful switchback, though. He'll be able to fight this back without the DRS down the main straight. Can he hold it? It's close. He locks up, and he has to yield the place. And now Durnia putting some pressure on Puff as well. Oh, Puff off the grass. Off the track, sorry, onto the grass. Yeah, a little bit of a moment there for Puff. Fighting guys that he's not really racing. Probably hopefully that little moment will be sort of a reminder that you got to keep it clean. Just be steady, because he's running in a decent spot right now. Definitely could fight for some points if there's a safety car, so you don't want to make a big mistake and damage your car or have to pit again or anything like that, so. Durnia now going to go put some pressure on T-Money and see if he can find a way through. Here comes down the back straight. So Durnia with that DRS, he is close enough to take a look. Going to wait for the main straight. Oh, T-Money into the wall. Big piece of wing there. T-Money has hit the wall. He has lost a huge chunk of his front wing. He's going to be struggling for grip now. Massive lockup for T-Money. And you'll just see Durnia just reel him in so quickly. Oh, T-Money, yeah, nearly misses the corner there. He is really in trouble without that wing. What that does is sort of has a compounding effect on the tires. They just start to overheat and lose even more grip. Dernier with a big lockup, though. Sends it on T-Money, has a monster lockup, and ends up losing the place after he gets it. Yeah, T-Money covers that off nicely. Nice shot from the cameraman here, riding on the diffuser of T-Money. Big lockup for both drivers. That's going to put Puff right in play again. There we go, T-Money and Dernier wheel to wheel. Puff has Joshua for company. Dernier stays ahead. Or sorry, gets ahead, I suppose. He was putting the pressure on. T-Money is pit again. Oh, big contact there! Joshua runs into the back of Puff on the exit of the Wall of Champions, and he's annihilated his front wing there. The former rivals collide at the Wall of Champions. A corner aptly named for two drivers who are former champions, and Joshua runs into the gearbox of Puff and has essentially handicapped his race now. He's in big trouble. He's missing a lot of his front wing, and he's going to have to pit to get that fixed. Well, I mean, that's the problem with, like, you got to communicate with your teammate. It's something I always have said here. If I was ever racing with somebody who wasn't someone I was in a party with, you just shoot him a DM. Just, you know, hey, what lap are you pitting, you know? Yeah, it is unfortunate. That's the advantage, though. If you're the car in front and you go in, like, you're always going to get service first, right? It's just the nature of it. So yeah, frustrating stuff, but hopefully hopefully you guys can work out some kind of agreement that you work together as a team, at least on the pit stops at the very least, because you could have done the same thing to him if you were sitting in front, right? So you can either start a nasty rivalry, or you guys can work together and make it easier on both of you. Really, the decision is up to you. The Fuzz now reeling in Doth, but he does have some time penalties, so see how that shapes out for him. I guess we should check on the penalties at this stage. Jinnit with 12 seconds of penalties here. So Fuzz with 9, really not a threat either. Dernier, Ryan with 3, Beck with 3, Joshua with 3. Those guys doing pretty good. Puff has 6. Cobalt 6 and Packer 6, but Packer is nearly a pit stop ahead here. With the 6 seconds of penalties. Actually, he has pit. Scabney, I believe, will be pitting as well. So, wow, look at that. Packer coming out of the pits and still has a 20-second lead. Sorry, 8.8, actually. It's been, Cobalt's actually been keeping that gap pretty honest. It was 8.8 a few laps ago, and it's up to 10 now, so it's actually really not that bad. He's doing a fair job trying to keep up with the front runner there, Packer. Putting some pressure on Doth here, although he does have a lot of time penalties. It's really not much of a threat, even if he does get by. Puff has finally pit for fresh mediums. Let's see what he can do on this fresh set of mediums now. Yeah, I get that. I mean, you were directly racing him, and he honestly might have just thought, you know what, if he's going to pit, I'll pit in front of him, and I know he needs his wing change because he hit me or whatever, and, you know, it's sort of it is a bit of a bastard move, we'll say that. You know, I think most racers, though, and I meant to say drivers and then said racer and driver together. But most racers are pretty cutthroat when it comes to it on track and on race day, you know, like, I think, I don't know, you get given an opportunity to put someone in a bad spot, and sometimes you just take it and you don't think twice. So, frustrating for sure. You did have good pace, though, again. Like, you were right in that top 3 there. Easily, I think you're on the podium without that. And I can see how it just sort of unravels from there at that stage, right? And just feel frustration and retirement, but you're definitely one of the quicker guys we got here, so you'll have your crack again next week and for many seasons to come. Oh, I don't know. I just mean, like, he may have seen that your wing was damaged and figured you're going to pit, so he decided to pit too, and then instantly puts you 8 seconds behind him. He doesn't have to race you anymore, right? Like, it's tactical, you know. If he even thought about it, he might have just figured, I'm just going to pit early and get off these tires. If he's going for a 2-stop and he's on softs, then there's really no harm in pitting early, right? Might as well just do it. Yeah, Puff looking pretty good here with these fresh mediums closing in on T and money. Let's get back up here and check on Maverick, who's putting some pressure on Ryan. And we have Scavney putting some pressure on Durnia. Fuzz really not leaving Doth alone, but again, with those time penalties, sitting in a bit of a bad spot. Scavney actually has this place, regardless, on time penalties. He's looking pretty good here, Scavney. Fresh set of softs now, and he's just got by Durnia. So Scavney looking like he could finish in the top 5 even, really, because Jenna has so many penalties at this stage. Scavney's going to get him. Scavney running a clean race so far. Yeah, no safety cars yet. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, he's gone to the softs for his final stint here, too, so... I mean, in all honesty, like, there's a very good chance he maybe just decided, hey, I'm pitting in front of my teammate, and too bad for him. You know? Maybe didn't realize you had damage. Thought at least he's going to get his pit stop out of the way before you. Who knows? But, yeah, man, I wouldn't sweat it too much. You're a pretty quick driver, so you'll be fine. Sometimes this shit just happens, just bad luck. Wrong things at the wrong time and can pretty much ruin your night. And I don't know. I mean, you're really putting the pressure on him. Like, you had the pace to pressure him, and I don't blame him, to be honest with you. You know, I really don't. Even if it was intentional, you knew he was going to handicap your race. Like, you know, you do everything you can to gain a place in racing. It's very cutthroat out there, especially in Tier 1. It is tough sledding, getting further up the field in this with this roster. It's tough, so I definitely don't blame him. Maverick gets the move done. Finally gets by Ryan. Yeah, just slices across and covers that off. So nicely done. Fusions back into the, or sorry, Durnia into the pits. Fusions goes by. Puff is pit again. Or no, he has not pit. Sorry. He's just jumping up the field a little bit. So Puff, 8.5 seconds out of the points right now. He has 9 seconds of penalties. Beck has 6. Fusions has 18. So Puff actually is pretty close to overtaking Fusions, who we know actually has another 10 seconds for starting the race early as well. So here comes Jinnit, moving to the outside line to take a look on Fuzz. Can he get it done? Fuzz has to tuck in. Yes, Jinnit does get it done. Ooh, nearly into the wall there. That was very close. You saw that abrupt turn away. Jinnit nearly tagged that wall. But, yeah, Fusions with a big, hefty set of penalties. So Puff actually into the points at the moment, I think. Unless T-Money behind jumps him, which he probably could. He's very close. T-Money... Although T-Money's penalties could be pretty bad, too. He did get disqualified for penalties here last year. 3 seconds tonight, though. That's pretty good. And, you know, and to be honest, like, another thing, too, A lot of these penalties could be getting removed after the race. We don't know who's got what. Doth I've seen run wide a couple times and hasn't got a penalty. And both times he was pushed wide by another car. So in my opinion, even if Doth picks up a penalty here, I don't believe he actually is going to maintain that penalty. Because I think at least 2 of his warnings would have been from being pushed wide. So Jinnit closing on Doth. He's going to get by. Doth surely would know that Jinnit has a buttload of penalties and probably isn't too concerned about Jinnit's pace. I doubt Jinnit's going to build a 21-second gap or whatever he's got in penalties here. 15 seconds in penalties. So, yeah, Doth can just sit within 15 seconds and get that podium. So, probably not feeling too threatened. Just lets that move go. And what that does is helps Doth focus on Fuzz behind. No, it was Fusions. Fuzz hit check after Fusions probably to see who it was. But I always catch it on the broadcast anyway. Like, you don't get away with it. Like, it's always on the broadcast. So it's one of those cut and dry things, right? You either started early or you didn't. So there's a penalty in it right there. So, and it sucks. Like, you know, it sucks for Fusions that he's carrying a 10-second penalty that the game didn't give him, but it's a pretty simple rule, you know, like just let the race director set the time and the ready time, and there's a reason for it. It's people, you know, we got guys of all ages racing here, people with, you know, sometimes people just need a minute or two to situate themselves for a 45-minute stint in the seat, so you got to give people that chance. You can't be ready early. Fuzz still putting that pressure on Doth. He's got a buttload of penalties, though, so even if he does get by Doth, not a huge threat to maintain the place. Jinnit, again, 15 seconds of penalties. Doth only 2 behind, so Doth should keep the place unless Jinnit does something outrageous in the next 3 laps. Yeah, it definitely was Fusions. I saw that, so. Smoglis having another rough night there. He's about a minute behind 14th, and yeah, Smoglis has been on a pretty bad stretch of races lately. He's been struggling for sure, and I know he mentioned he just really hasn't been putting any time in practicing or even playing the game at all. He just kind of showing up for the league races, so just here for some fun. He's not taking it too seriously at the moment. Obviously got other commitments in his life right now, and that's just the reality of a league race. Sometimes guys are busy doing other things and they can't commit as much time as they used to. But Zem's someone who's been on the podium this year, so we know he's got pace when he's putting in the work and practicing, and definitely wouldn't mind seeing him on the podium again one more time before the year's said and done. Closest battle on track right now, Fuzz and Doth. Let's take a look at these penalties. They are becoming quite relevant as the session winds down here. Scabney is actually going to get... He's actually pretty close to jumping Jinnit too, Scabney. Fusions with even more time penalties now. So, yeah, I think Puff's in the points here. I don't know, T-Money's going to get that point. Even Joshua might too. I think Puff's actually going to slide right down, probably to P14 here. Cobalt's doing really well, actually. He's been one of the only drivers that seems to have the pace to kind of hang in the window of Packer, but obviously he's well off still. And Jinnit's actually, race pace-wise, Jinnit is quite close to Cobalt, but he's carrying a lot more penalties, so... is the gap really going to be 2.2 without the penalties? Probably more like 4 or 5 seconds. The game probably gives you harsher penalties for a slight extension than would be warranted. So, yeah, Cobalt looking like a potential podium guy week in, week out. At least here tonight he is. Same with Sharpshooter. He's definitely got the podiums in him, and Nathan as well. So we got about 4 or 5 guys that are consistently fighting for podiums here week in, week out. And it's better for us, better for everybody watching, and makes for some pretty good racing week to week. Doth doing a great job here. The only guy without penalties, besides Zamoglis, who doesn't have penalties either. But Doth in P4 with no penalties, he is going to jump. Hell, Doth's actually going to finish P2 right now, yeah. On penalty-wise, he's going to finish P2. Packer's clear of everybody, so he's going to win the race regardless, but we don't really have any battles to watch anymore. Joshua and T-Money scrapping a little bit back there. We'll keep an eye on that in a moment, but we'll ride with the man who is the Season 4 champion. He's doing his best to fight back and claw back some distance in that championship to Nathan, who has slept in for the race today and didn't make it in. So Packer out in front, leading the Canadian Grand Prix. He's going to take it. He's leaving the hairpin, saying goodbye to the fans for the last round of the circuit. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. The final lap of the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve, it's the Montreal Grand Prix, round 15 of Zenith Online Racing. Here is your winner. It's QVR Packer taking it home for Tier 1. Nice job from Packer. Cobalt coming down that back straight, doing a little bit of weaving, a little bit of celebrating. He's going to bring it home in P2. Probably will drop to P3 once the penalties are applied. There goes Cobalt crossing the line. P2 for Haas. And here comes Jinnit in P3. Surely going to lose a lot of places after the penalties are applied. Doth jumps to P2. Fuzz to P4. Jinnit to P5. Can Scabney get him? Scabney picked up another penalty, though, so I do not think Scabney will get Jinnit here. Scabney going to finish P6, it looks like. Although, yeah, Maverick won't be passing him. So Jinnit P5. Scabney P6. Maverick P7. Can Ryan jump up? Ryan in P8, goes to P7, Maverick drops. Fusions has a lot of penalties. I do not think he is going to cross the line here. He'll cross the line, but he won't maintain the points here. Can Puff hang on to the points? He's going to cross in P10. Gets Fusions. Fusions drops to P11. T-Money jumps up. Beck jumps up. Joshua jumps up. Wow, lots of guys jumping up on penalties there. Beck out of the points by 4/10. Puff out by 2 seconds. Fusions way out. Durnia nowhere. And Zamoglis way behind them as well. So there it is. Packer wins it. That's it for round 15. Driver of the day, Puff Digital. Yeah, I disagree, but he did gain a lot of places, just didn't get any points. So who would be the driver of the day, you guys think? Packer? I mean, just pretty much aced it today. Not even close, really. I mean, Doth, really. I think you got to give it to Doth. Runs a clean race, picks up another P2. I mean, that's Doth in the podium interviews once again. Like, he's making a habit of it now, so. There you go, Cobalt. You pick up that podium, at least. Finish P3. Jinnit with... Jinnit had a bag and a half of penalties today, but he still picks up a top 5 finish, so that's a pretty good result for Jinnit, given the penalties he was carrying. Obviously had that pace. He was able to fight at the front, just couldn't keep it between the lines. Like I said, I mean, did he really gain 21 seconds of pace? I doubt it, but that's the penalties he's got, so... nonetheless, great race from the guys up front. Scabney goes P6, Ryan P7, Maverick P8. T-Money goes P9, Joshua P10, Beck 11, Puff 12, Fusions 13. He is going to even get more penalties after that. Durnia 14, Zamoglis 15th, and Sharpshooter and Sam retire in the pits, and that is it. So nobody crashed out, no yellow flags, no safety cars. Well, a few yellow flags, but they were really for just retirements, intentional. So, can't really blame anybody for that, but we'll get the 3 podium guys in here for an interview. Just one moment. Done nice and early, too. It's only 9:17. All right, it's pretty warm in here, so apologies if you can hear the fan. I'm just gonna, I gotta get that thing on because it's getting a little toasty. Disconnecting to P8 is interview worthy. Maverick, you just really like being in the party, eh? Always trying
What's
to
going
find.
on?
He's always trying to find a way to get in here. Maverick loves hearing his voice on the air, I think. All right, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, so I'm not sure if Cobalt's coming in, but we'll start at the top and work our way down. Packer, another brilliant race for you tonight. Obviously, Nathan probably overslept and didn't make it for the Grand Prix. From what I gather, though, it seemed like he was pretty confident you were going to take it tonight, regardless whether he was here or not. But really strong performance. Struggled to get a lot of valid laps done in quali, but you got one that counted, and it was good enough for pole. And you pretty much aced the entire race stint as well. There was really no mistakes in it, and you were pretty comfortably in the lead for most of the night. So, how you feeling after that one? I don't think there's really much for you to walk us through. It was pretty straightforward, I think, tonight.
Yeah, qualifying, besides obviously that one lap was pretty embarrassing for me.
Yeah.
Only being able to get in the one valid lap, crashing, starting my lap in the first run, which you caught on stream, wasn't exactly my brightest moment of the evening or the season, but it was definitely something. But yeah, 7-9 was able to secure pole position. Then the race. Just had to get a good start, get away from sharpshooter and Jeanette right at the beginning, and then I was able to pull a gap, and then just had to settle into a rhythm for the rest of the race.
Yeah, like I said, it looked pretty. You looked pretty in control today. There was really no threat of you losing that. The only thing I could think that would ever put you in under pressure today would have been a safety car and maybe someone on a fresh set of tires right behind you or something like that would have been the only real chance of something going wrong, but otherwise it looked like you just had the pace and the right strategy and pretty much had it wrapped up right from the beginning. Like the first stint, it looked like you pulled away really fast on the start and you had a nice lead right into lap 2 and 3 and just kind of got easier from there. So good stuff tonight, and we'll move on to P2, Mr. Doth Thou Hoist. Acing it in one of your favorite tracks, a place you've visited many times, a place I've visited many times, and a place where we have crossed paths IRL. So good vibes all around. The rain vibes didn't show up tonight. Not sure how that would have affected your performance tonight, but nice job not picking up any penalties, and that helped you climb up into P2 for the day. So how are you feeling after that one? It's been a nice, really strong string of results for you lately. So
Cheers. Yeah, thank you. No, and it was it was a good drive. I mean, qualifying. From being completely honest, I was a little disappointed because I actually I doinked the wall coming out of 4, and so on my last lap I actually ran the 108.5 with a broken wing. So I had a lot more in the tank, and so kind of my thought process was that I've raced here with Packer a bunch. I mean, I remember when we did like the multi-league race thing where where like Packer qualified second and like we qualified or something like that, or first, and I qualified second. We were right next to each other, and I just remember that once we got into free track, he kind of walked away from me. So I was like, okay, if I have any chance of winning this race, I have to stick it on pole. And then I didn't, and then so I was like, okay, so now I'm kind of trying to just keep it clean, keep it smooth, and just don't take any penalties. And I actually got a warning on lap 1, but then was able to just kind of just keep it the whole way. And yeah, it went. And I was actually hoping for a late safety car, because with no penalties, all of a sudden the late safety car is your best friend.
Yep, that's true.
But you know, it wasn't meant to be, and I certainly didn't have the raw pace to catch up to Packer. So I am more than happy with that. All things considered, I'm more than happy with the second place.
Yeah, I agree. It looked like a really strong result for you.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. And what I saw was, I definitely think I saw the one warning. It looked like there was a couple moments where you were side by side with other drivers and were kind of forced to take runoff. And I was thinking, well, even if he did get a penalty, I bet you it gets removed because one of those warnings can't be legit. I don't know
Yeah,
if you picked up more than one, but
Fuzz and I went side to side going into the final chicane, and
yeah,
Fuzz I think kind of outbraked himself, and so what I did was like instead of trying to kind of shove two cars through there, I was like, okay, I'll just take the escape road here, and like if I get a penalty for this, that's something that's easy, goes to the stewards, and it's like, okay, he just
yeah,
tried to avoid an accident. But
yeah,
the game
exactly.
actually, props to the game, because usually, everybody kind of maligns the penalty system, and rightly so. But on that one, it kind of, I guess, realized that I didn't gain an advantage. I went off, and like I went through slowly through the area, and
Yeah,
it just let me rejoin with no penalty. So I was like, okay, Cody's, I appreciate that, thank you.
yeah. It seems like if you lift and you sort of, don't seem like you just gunned it across a corner, like they won't ding you every time. So like I've run wide plenty of times in the past where I didn't get dinged because I just lifted off the throttle and stayed on the track, right? Like that was one of my specialties in not incurring penalties
Exactly.
when I was racing, and part of that was when I did go wide, I would lift a little bit, and it's like, okay, sure, I just lost half a second, but I didn't get a penalty, so I can make up that half a second somewhere else.
Exactly. I ate the half a second to save three. I'll make
Yeah,
that trade all the time.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's it. I don't think Cobalt made his way in for the interview, so I don't know if you guys were pretty much
I'm
No
here.
finished.
Cobalts here.
Oh, is he here?
No, I'm here.
Oh, beautiful. I didn't even see you join. All right,
Yeah,
well,
I'm here.
on to P3. You finished P2 on track. Obviously, looking pretty racy out there. Had a really strong qualifying session and had some pretty good pace in the race. I think if you were able to manage the penalties a little bit better, you definitely had P2 locked up. But Doth with no penalties, I think you had 9 seconds or something like that. It was tough to build a 9 second gap over Doth to try and eradicate the penalty gap there. So, is there anything you could have done better? You happy with the podium? Given the circumstances, obviously Packer being sort of the lead horse here and clear favorite to win it, do you think there's much more you could have done tonight to be further up the field? Or
Yeah, I just wasn't. I was planning to make it, but get some practice in. But before the race, I had something to do, so I just hopped into the lobby with no practice, and just a setup that I had for a while now. Was really struggling on the softs. The softs, I just couldn't get them to grip at all. But the mediums, they just felt fine. So all 6 seconds, basically, at 6 seconds and two warnings just from my softs, and then I got my final warning on the mediums towards the end of the race there. But definitely can probably get a little bit faster in qualifying. I know my TT is like a 107.8,
yeah,
107.7 around there. But it's really I just need to get a little bit more practice. Usually I do some practice before the race, but I just didn't have the time today before the race to get some practice in. But overall, first good race here. Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say I think this might be the first race I've seen you here, so pretty solid result for sure. Get on the podium in the first debut Grand Prix. It's can't get much better than that. But what are you expecting for yourself for the rest of the season here? I think we've only got 3 races left now. Is that correct, Doth? 4
Uh,
left.
we just have, depending on timing with the new game, the season was just supposed to go France and Italy.
Yep, yep. So and then Britain, I guess we're making up at the end as well. So
Yep.
maybe even yeah. But so yeah, 3 races left. What do you expect for yourself for the last 3 races there, Cobalt?
Definitely, France is one of my stronger tracks. Singapore, sadly, I missed that, but that was one of my best
Yeah,
tracks. That and Coda. France, I'm decent at. Monza, it's basically do you have straight line speed and stick with the person in front? And then Britain is basically just DRS train. Just
yeah.
basically, if you lose DRS, you basically can't do anything about it. But yeah, Excited to race in.
Podiums? Do you think you'll be hitting the podiums for those races? Like, is that your expectation here? Is it like where you see yourself slotting in with the guys that are in this league?
Just based off the results today, so I feel like I probably could maybe get into third. I heard that Nathan's like unbelievably fast, so I'm definitely not gonna get B1 and 2 unless Pack or him make some sort of mistake. But
Yeah,
I'll
and
see if I can slot in that P3 slot once in a while for these last two races.
yeah,
And push the lead.
sharpshooter looking pretty strong twos for podiums weekly, and Doth obviously has snagged quite a few recently as well. So you got some
Yeah,
competition
I
there
was
for sure.
wondering, the two Mercedes pulled some. I don't know if they had some Ferrari strategist over there.
Yeah.
Some Jeanette passed him, and then I knew Jeanette had wing damage because he slammed the wall.
Ah, so he did have damage too.
Yeah, he slammed the wall coming out of the final chicane. So I'm guessing it was just that they both had damage and
Yeah.
just didn't expect both to come at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense to me because sharpshooter there was a little confused as to why Jinip hit in front of him. So
Yeah, I
definitely.
believe he had some sort of wing damage because he definitely slammed the wall right in front of me.
All right, well that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, otherwise, some good overtakes on the second stint coming out of the pit lane, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty good result though. Podium for sure. I mean, make it in for your interview and your debut. It's pretty good stuff. And there's been a few drivers that have done that this season actually. And then one of the old timers from day one, Mr. Doth, is back on the podium again. So, and another familiar face, Packer, obviously former champion, doing everything he can to claw back anything he can over Nathan here. He doesn't really have much time left though. Do you know what the points gap is now, Nathan? Or
I
Packer?
believe it's 20.
20 points now? Ooh, that's spicy. And we've seen Nathan bottle quite a few races, so anything could happen here. I've seen him crash out of the lead twice now, so, I mean...
I don't know. Well, hopefully he sleeps some more, because, good sleeping schedule is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for you, that's for sure. All right, guys, well, let's wrap it up. It's 9:30 now, so definitely hitting that little sort of our hour and a half mark and call it a night, and we'll see you next week. Is it France next week, you said?
Yep, France.
Yeah, so France next week, and then I guess, yeah, everybody else this week. Wednesday, Tier 3, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, Tier 2, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday, the EU tier goes at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK time. You can catch all of that on the YouTube channel here. Hit subscribe if you're new. If you're watching this video on demand, hit subscribe. Get the live notifications. We got racing 3 more nights this week. So 4 nights a week total here at ZOR. And Big is on vacation this week, so you might hear me every single night. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Obviously, we try to get as many guys as we can in here for the comms, and obviously, like, I do plenty of this every week, so I have no problem absolutely letting anybody else go. But if we're in a pinch and there's no one around, then maybe you'll hear me again this week. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we will catch you next week for the French Grand Prix. Have a good one.